No one asked for this, but once you hear it, you'll wish you never did. The mine in the Mojave. Less than a month ago, something happened that I'll probably never forget. I'm a senior in high school, and I've lived in Nevada my whole life. There's not a ton to do here, so my friends and I got into urban exploring. Abandoned buildings, dead malls, service tunnels, anything forgotten. We weren't out to vandalize or break laws. It was all about the vibe. The one guy who always found the craziest places was Charles. He was the quiet, mysterious type. One day, he sent us a screenshot from a sketchy Instagram account. Low followers, blurry photos, creepy comments. The caption just said, "Dozens of abandoned mine shafts in the Mojave Desert if you know where to look." Apparently, Charles had messaged the account and gotten a few locations. That was all he needed. So that Saturday, it was me, Charles, and our friend James. I drove us out there in my Wrangler, perfect for desert off-roading. We had no real address, just a vague pin drop. The deeper we went, the less road there was until finally, it was just endless dirt and rocks. James was getting pissed, telling Charles we'd been scammed. But right when we were about to give up, James pointed out something to the right, a half-collapsed wooden structure built into a slope. It looked sketchy as hell. Part of it had caved in, but there was still a dark hole behind the support beams, a real mine shaft. Charles grinned, dropped a pin on his offline map, and said, "Told you." We geared up, even wearing masks, and made our way inside. The entrance sloped down steeply, but it wasn't a straight drop. It was cold, silent, and eerie. We eventually reached the bottom, where it branched into tunnels. Old beams, rusted rails, scraps of wood and metal. It was straight out of a horror movie. Then we heard it, a faint scraping sound like something being dragged. We turned off our flashlights and stood frozen in the darkness. The sound got louder, closer. James accidentally flicked his flashlight and the sound immediately stopped. For a few seconds, it was dead silent until something heavy clanged down deep in the tunnel, followed by a horrifying demonic scream. We ran, I tripped, lost a shoe, but adrenaline carried me. Climbing back up barefoot was agony. Every step drove splinters into my foot, but I didn't stop. Charles and James half carried me to the Jeep. James drove while I tried not to pass out. At the hospital, they pulled splinters from my foot, gave me a tetanus shot, and I couldn't walk properly for days. A few days later, we decided to drive back. James had dropped his wallet near the entrance. We didn't go inside, but we found my missing shoe, torn up, full of deep bite marks. Chunks were missing, like something had chewed on it. We left fast after that. No one has a logical explanation. Whatever it wasn't human. The desert campsite. I'm the outdoorsy type. To me, a vacation means camping, fishing, hiking, not some fancy resort. My girlfriend Tiki shares that same love for nature. A few weeks ago, we decided to do something new, desert camping. We found a remote spot online. No amenities, no crowds, just open land and stars. After a long drive, most of it down rough dirt roads, we found ourselves completely alone. Perfect. The first 2 nights were incredible. Warm days, cool nights, the clearest stars I've ever seen. We sat by the fire, passed a joint, laughed about nothing, and fooled around in the tent. Pure peace. Both nights, though, we heard something strange. Far off, a low, moaning howl. It didn't sound human. We chalked it up to coyotes or mountain lions. Desert wildlife, right? It was unsettling, but we didn't let it ruin the trip. The third night, everything changed. I woke up to the sound of footsteps outside our tent. Soft, deliberate, too slow to be an animal. Frozen in fear, I couldn't move. I heard a flick, a lighter. Through the fabric of the tent, a small flame glowed a few feet away, then started waving around. Then the flame grew, way bigger. Whoever it was dropped what they were holding, and a second later, the tent lit up. The fire spread fast. I shook Tiki awake. We scrambled out, dumping water on the flames, stomping on burning fabric, trying to save whatever we could. Half the tent was destroyed. I grabbed my flashlight and scanned the darkness. But whoever had tried to burn us alive was gone. We started walking toward the truck. or at least what we thought was the truck. It was pitch black. After several minutes, we realized we were lost. Then we heard it again, the screams. Only now, there were multiple voices, howling, overlapping, wailing behind us. I didn't say anything. I just grabbed Tiki's hand and pulled her faster. By some miracle, we found the truck. We threw everything into it and sped off, bouncing over rough dirt roads, my heart hammering. We reported the incident to the police later, but honestly, what could they even do? All I know is if I hadn't woken up that night, I might not be here to tell this story. The call with my mother. This next part is important to understand. Growing up, I always felt like my mom was hiding something about her past. She was born in a northern Mexican border town, a rough area. She never spoke about her childhood except through jokes. One time she said, "My dad's side were the politicians, my mom's side were the crooks," but I could never tell which was which. As a kid, I laughed it off. As an adult, I started wondering if it was more than a joke. There was one night when I was about 10. I heard her talking quietly on the phone in Spanish, repeating a name. Let's call him R. I didn't understand the language, but the way she said it stuck with me. Now fast forward to about a year ago. I was driving alone through the desert in Arizona, heading to meet a college friend. Long drive. Bored. I was cycling through calls with friends and eventually called my mom. We were talking about soccer when I saw 2 pickup trucks blocking the road. I slowed down. Before I could react, 3 men armed with guns jumped out. I froze. Another truck pulled up behind me, boxing me in. One man motioned for me to get out of my car. I complied. They took my wallet, keys, phone. I was screwed. Except I hadn't hung up with my mom. My phone was still active inside the truck. I watched as one of the men climbed into my car, picked up the phone, and paused. Then he started talking. To my mom. I couldn't hear them through the closed doors, but I could see their mouths moving. I swear I heard R's name spoken a few times. After a few tense minutes, the man rolled down the window, said something to the others, and all 3 looked at me strangely, like they were reconsidering something. Then, to my shock, they handed back my phone, wallet, keys. They only kept the cash. One of them smiled and said, "Tax," before they all sped off into the desert. I drove away in stunned silence. Later, I called my mom and demanded an explanation. She claimed she had threatened to call the police and told them she was tracking my location. I didn't believe it, not for a second. I'm becoming more and more convinced that my mom has deep, possibly dangerous connections, ones that never really left her when she came to the US. Part of me wants to confront her. Part of me is terrified to know the truth.